Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the semifinals. It's the second semifinals today. We're going to see who goes up against Gumiho in the grand finals, of course. That'll be a best of 7, but as far as the schedule goes, we'll be doing the third, fourth place match first, then the grand final. So a best of 3 into a best of 7 following this series. Spawning here, though, in the top right corner of the map, I'd say to the surprise of most, he's down 2 games to his opponents. It's going to be the blue Protoss player from Yoey Flash Wolves. Give it up for PartinG.
The bottom position as the red Zerg. It's Losira. On for 14-14?
I don't know, but like what really caught me off guard about that last game is we watched his pool timing. There you go. Like, this is gonna be kind of scary for PartinG, just objectively speaking. But last game, like that 8 pool, I really didn't feel it did enough. And the fact that Losira was able to still take that game in the end, like, you don't really see a lot of failed cheeses turn into later game victories, but that was rather impressive.
It was 2-base.
Yeah, for a long time.
2-base Zerg beat a 2-base Protoss, alright? A lot of it had to do with PartinG either rushing because he thought he was going to win or rushing because he thought he had to. So not the most, finesse went into that Immortal Sentry all-in.
So I kind of, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there. The Overlord scouted the second probe. Losira, like 100% positive, like, why do you send out 2 probes in the early game for anything other than cannons? So now knows exactly what he's going to be coming up against, but doesn't really care because he was going for this fast speed timing anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
PartinG is worth noting to you guys. If you watched any of the group stage games, you'll know that he's faltered a little bit to early pools, but at the same time, PartinG had some of the most epic comebacks and the craziest wins in the group stage that he played in too. So he goes for the full wall off. I don't disagree with this choice. He does need to get a cannon down.
Okay, so I was wondering about Losira here, and what he does is that he just says, okay, I'm scouted, you're going to have a forge up anyways, probably, because you sent out 2 probes. I'm just going to go ahead and expand. I have 100 gas, but I'm not going to waste 100 minerals on it quite yet, because I think I have to go into a macro game. And that's a pretty cool thing to see. He could have gone for the speed, maybe a lesser player would have, and yeah, they would have had speed really early, but it probably wouldn't have been that useful.
Yeah, so I think, well, one of the big things too is this may actually have been a choice decisively made off of the fact that he did realize PartinG would have cannons. Again, like, he scouts that second probe at the same time he sees the one coming towards his base, right? And your thoughts are, okay, cannon rush, but if there's not a cannon rush, there'll be defensive cannons at home, so maybe my speedlings won't be as effective. Yeah. So to not actually rush into investing into this makes a lot of sense, and if that's the case, that was a really good read out of Losira.
Pretty sure it was. Well, eventually you can get speed, or you can just keep it 100 gas later for roaches if you really don't want to. Most PVs or EVPs, I'd say you do want speed. Just depends on where and when you get it.
Yeah, just generally speaking, it's great for trying to get around on top of those sentries, but PartinG is going to hide a Stargate. What is kind of curious about this is it's not really a proxy Stargate. I wouldn't say this is any better than hiding into his main, but it's a Stargate that will probably never get scouted. Not even with Zerglings is there any reason to randomly check up here.
I just feel like versus Zerg, the surprise factor isn't quite as important. If you surprise a Terran and like their Marines are halfway across the map and an Oracle comes in, you get SCV kills. There's nothing to stop it, even if they pull away. With Zerg, you still get a lot of drone kills, but a Queen does attack the Oracle, so rather than like 15, you get 8 is a pretty good number for the most part.
I guess, yeah. Realistically speaking, a lot of the time, any kills is nice. With Queens up, it's so hard to just get in there and freely destroy your opponent, like Cube versus Terran. But yeah, 7 or 8, like that's kind of expected. The bare minimum, I guess we call it. Yeah.
And that's what he's got to be looking for. There is a pathway where he could just simply not be scouted by the Overlords at all, or the Lings.
Oh, he goes for the second one, though. If he waits, rather than sending the first one in really fast, you can actually kill a Queen so quickly with 2 Oracles.
That's true. A little surprised he didn't, and he does go past the Watchtower as well, just barely.
Oh, Losira sees this. For like a fraction of a second. I'm not sure if he was looking, because moving his Overlords around, trying to catch the pro put in the Nexus, but... Yeah, this is, Spore Caller coming down immediately. He did see that coming. So, the Queen's enough, and he actually pulls the drones out of here right away. Oh, man, Losira like today, Losira, this is your day, man. You're playing against PartinG. You're making like the best decisions in every game so far.
We haven't really been able to talk about, like, you know, hype up the two players because it was mostly about PartinG being late, right? But, you know, people going in saying, like, you know, PartinG 3-0 Losira and stuff like that. I would usually say it too if Losira hasn't been a guy that we've been casting in this tournament specifically too recently. He's actually on like really strong form right now. Unfortunately, did not, like, one thing he did mess up on is not putting one in the Spore Crawler, maybe hoping that PartinG would just give up after seeing one in the main, but PartinG making these oracles work.
Yeah, I'm surprised he still gets 15 kills out of this. I mean, especially with the way this had been prepared for him. Oh. 1 HP hype! The Oracle barely gets out of there alive. Third base for PartinG in the meantime came down behind this. This wasn't like an all-in gambit, and he wasn't wasting a bunch of micro and energy over here. He got some good kills out of it too, for a situation where, again, like, Spore Crawlers anticipated this coming, but...
Yeah, just having not putting one immediately down on this the natural really hurt him. It's like versus 2-base Muta as a Terror, and you put on like turrets everywhere except on your production, and that's where they go, and you're like, come on.
You know what it is? Like, this is like, you know, a recipe, like 1 part Home Story Cup Revenge and 1 part the fact that everyone's calling him Losira again instead of Congo. That's where the power comes from, right?
Oh, so the badge it comes from? Yeah, exactly. I feel so bad too because Congo is his name. It's like his real name.
Yeah, but there's, sorry, as I have a coughing fit out of nowhere, there's some players out there that are, you're just never gonna call him anything else, like Marine Game Prime, like forever.
It's not that we don't call him that. It's that we keep saying things like, you know, who's gonna call him Kong Ho? And I'm like, well, his mom probably does.
It's his slave name. He didn't pick it. His name given to him. But no, Kong Ho being his real name is, I feel like almost better to not have your real name be your gamer alias.
Oh, see,
nice little snipe there by the Hydras.
It's actually, I guess it's that well known, but like in Korea, they don't know them by their handles. They know them by their real names.
Oh, that's interesting. Because yeah, like when we go to BlizzCon and stuff, like I don't want people calling me Graham. Like that's weird. Like,
it is weird to us. But, like, you know, that's all they ever know. Like, you know, I was talking to someone, they're like, oh, you know Yim Yohan. And I was like, oh, Boxer. And they're like, who? And I was like, oh, yeah, I know him. Anyways, okay, so back at the top of the game, it did look like PartinG was going to go for, like, a 3-base, you know, Blink Stalker attack, just as many gateways that he had and how fast he's able to get that third up and running. And, you know, that's exactly what he's going to do. It does not have the best upgrades, only +1. Usually, I'd say we see +2 on 2 bases, but it's attacking pretty fast. But Losira has the necessary tech to deal with it. Hydras.
I really like the +1 for this though. Like if these lings coming out are really not going to be that effective, the +1's going to complement quite well with the Stalkers, of course. But this is a nice pre-split out of Losira. Like PartinG's not going to get that 1 sick force field on that ramp that shuts Losira down. He is spread quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, Hydras are a great response against this, and you add in any like amount of lings or roaches that soaks up the damage, and they're fantastic, especially if you have a large number, which Losira definitely does, and he also has good positioning.
A couple force fields do go down. Might be able to use this crevasse to some of his advantage. Blinks over to the left to seal off one more force field, and now has a much better engagement area. Time Warp even going to go down here as well. PartinG though, he pushes out a lot more of the army than he traps in, so he doesn't get to kill through those force fields, but this does buy him time for another round of warp-ins. +1 weapons is going to complement him quite well as he continues to blink back to retain these stalkers. You know, unlike previous attacks, there was not a lot of tech behind this. This time there really is. Blink is a pretty big deal. Sadly, some of it's on cooldown here, so he did blink aggressively forward. Gotta start picking those stalkers back one at a time. They'll keep them alive. Blinks northward once again.
I don't know. Big warp-in again, though. Gotta remember that he has a lot of gateways behind this, so... can Losira match production? It doesn't look like it. The force field is just too good.
Yeah, it's 3 bases versus what essentially 2 now. Losira lost all the drones here, pulling this into it. Queens have fallen as well, and I think PartinG's about to snowball out of control. The army supplies are still somewhat even, but yeah, with Blink and +1 and this many stalkers, it's not fun to deal with. So.